Hello, how are you all today? I'm good. So what I'm doing is I am going to work on the daisy quilt. I forgot what I was doing. I wanted to show you from the very beginning to the very end and how to put it all together. Okay? So let's get started. By the way, welcome to Joan's Sewing Room. Forgot to welcome. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on these. This is the part we're working on, the petal. And this is the background of the petal. Now what I need to do for this one is I need to cut this one in half. Now, as I showed you in the last video I made of the daisy quilt, I put these together, and the way you lay them out is like this, the opposites ways here, like so, and then this one that way too. Let me get some longer ones here. These seem to be a little short. Okay, let's start over there. Let's do that again. And the important part here is trying to keep them even. And then this one goes this way. Like so. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just chain stitch those together. Now what we do is we go back and we cut them apart, like so. Oop, that was a closey. Don't want to make a mistake. All right. Now we take it to the iron and we iron them. And when you iron them, you want to iron them like this. Okay. Okay. So I have them all ironed and they look like this. Now I'm going to need to trim them. So I'll just take out my scissors and trim a little bit. So it'll be easier to sew them together. Oh, we want to do the white, not the orange. Don't want to mess that up, do we? Okay, so what I'm going to do is sew these together now. And you want to just line up your seams. You want the seam to nestle between the two fabrics. And so when you open it, it'll be perfect. Yes. Let's just get them sewed. And hopefully I can get them perfect. But always check them before you sew them. Okay. We're using a 1/4 inch seam. You just line up the raw edges and sew down. Like so. And there's your first petal. Or you can put it this way so you can see it better. Okay. And then after you get them sewed together, you take them back to the sewing machine or the iron and iron them down. Now I'm on my last one. I'm going to trim the white or the off-white. So it'll just make it easier to sew together. Going to line up the points like so. And sew them together. Okay, let's see how I did on this one. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, now I'm gonna take it to the iron. Okay, so now they're all ironed. Now I'm going to assemble the square. So what I do is I take my square and I have cut it 3 1/2. Let me make sure I did. 3 1/4. 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 to give it that extra room. And what I normally do is I'll take one like this and I will lay right sides together down at the bottom where the base of the petal is, like so, and I will sew it on. Using a 1/4 inch. It's all about working the petals around the center of the flower. So there is the beginning of the square. Now what you do is you take your next one. So what I do is I'll lay it out like this on my table to work in the next one. Now I could go this way, but I'm going to go on this side because it's the longest side. So what I want to do is I want to flip it over. So now my petal is pointing in this direction. Right sides together, sew it together. Still using a 1/4 inch. And sewing it all the way on, all the way down. Some of my background here is a little long, which will get trimmed. Okay, so here is the start. Now, so our next one will be along here at the bottom, catching these two together. And there again, the petal needs to be next to the center. The bottom of the petal goes next along the center, sews on to the center there. And it doesn't matter if your white pieces are a little longer, because they're going to be trimmed anyway. And your white pieces are the background of the flower. Okay, so here is the flower so far. All right, now the last one goes right here. And the reason why I leave this one for the last one is because I have to sew here and here. So I first sew it here onto, and what I try to do, I always fail to do this, but I try to keep this open here, this seam. In fact, when you sew these two together, just sew up to like 1/8 of an inch and then just leave that portion open. And the only reason why I do that is so I can make a nice seam going straight across the white. So let me fix that. And there again, I'm using the smallest stitch under. Think about the last square or the last one I put on that I need to leave that open. But anyway, anywho, it's best to leave it open. That way you can line up your petals together, and then you can, when you go to fold it over like this and sew it on to like that, it all works. It all works. So just believe me, it works. Line it all up, all your ends, your raw ends here. Make sure some of these little seams are down, so when you sew over them. just like that. Now, all I have to do is sew this part on. And it's going to be, it'll lay flat because I opened it up and I sewed it right onto here. Now it opens like this. I can lay it flat and I can sew it on. And there's no puckers. So there's always, you know, a little bit of adjustments here and there. Doing a quilt. But when you're piecing quilts, put it that way, when you're piecing it together. Especially when you're making your own quilt patterns. And trying to manipulate it the way you want. Trying to manipulate the fabrics the way you want them to go. Alrighty, so here we go. We have it. There it is. Now I'm going to take it over the iron. I'll iron it and trim it, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have finished sewing my daisy square together. This is how it looks. I've trimmed it and I've ironed it. And I've ironed a trim to it. And I'm going to add a corner leaf. So here's the trim pieces. 2 of these. You'll need 2 of those. You'll need 1 of these, which is a 2 by 2 inch green square, or what else. This is the way it's going to look, like this, like that, and it's still a square, as you can see. So what you need to do at this point is trim it. See, I've trimmed it here. So I'm going to trim this one. And when you trim it, you want to leave this side laying out this way. So you want to just trim the white and the green. 1 white and 1 green. Like so. So when it comes out, it looks like so. It looks like a square. And it is a square. So then you want to take it over, making the leaf square. I am chaining these corner pieces that I'm going to put in my daisy quilt. My plan is to make 1 square per on each. Let's see, 1 square on the right side of each block. So it'd be the corner right. Okay, so turn it around, go the other way. Now the green block is 2 inches, and these little white ones are 1 inch, and it's right sides together. I'm putting them in each corner, the opposite corner of each other, and sewing diagonally. Back and trimmed, they look like this, and that's how they'll lay. So let's I wanted to keep with the block form with my quilt. All right, so now we just peel back the, no, actually you don't have to do that yet. You just take your scissors and you cut that part off, the ear. I'll use some other scissors here. Just like that. So when it opens up, it'll open up like so. One of these strips to the top. And we want to attach it to the square, this green square or green leaf first. So I'm going to do right sides together, like so. And I'm going to sew it on. So let me move the camera so you can see. There we go. And you want to just make sure that it's even on both sides before you sew it on. You want to use a 1/4 inch seam. Just want to line it up. Okay, just like that. Like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to line up the white border to the end of the fabric. And this is going to hang off. We're going to sew it on here like so. Back stitch. So what this is your sashing. You want to take it right up to the seam and stop. So now you have your border or your sashing on with the little leaf at the corner. Now I made this a leaf. This is my pattern, but you can make whatever you want there at that corner. That's how I made mine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this sashing to this end right here. Right sides together. Let's line it up. As best you can. I'm going to pin it. Like so, and then I'm going to sew it down. So what I'm going to do, which I should have remembered to do and I didn't remember to do, but open up that seam a little bit so I can get this to lay down properly. And when I go to sew it onto this side, there won't be a pucker. Sure everything is lined up 1/4 stitch. And when you get right up to that seam that connects the border with the square, with the leaf square, then you want to stop it right up to that seam, and you want to back up. See how it came out. All right, now, so this is what I have. Now where does this go? It goes along here, like that. And now it's going to sew on here perfectly, hopefully. Hopefully I didn't blow it. Let me see here. Oh, looks good, okay. And I'm just gonna catch that same seam going all the way across. Okay, so this is what we have. So this is a leaf pattern. So I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine, iron. I'm going to take it to the ironing and iron it down so you can see how it looks. Okay, so hopefully you can get the idea of what I'm trying to do here. I have it off the stand and now I'm trying to get a picture of what I've done. Daisy square. This idea. And when I put these flowers together, now I call this a daisy quilt. There's lots of daisy quilts out there that look different. Mine only have 4 petals. Some of them have 6 petals, some of them have 8. Some are round, some are square, some are pointed. You know, they're all different. But this is mine. And mine are made from half square triangles and squares. So that's important. Plus I put a color center in instead of a white center. Some of them have white centers. So like I said, everything is different. Everybody does their quilting different. I do mine differently. I usually don't use a pattern. I just see what I see and then I take it from there and do it differently. So that's what we do. So anyway, that's how I am going to finish this quilt. Each one of these will have in the right corner, they'll have their leaf, and then it just kind of grounds it so that it just doesn't look like your flowers are floating in space because you have the off-white, but you have the green, and I like that because it just kind of grounds each flower. So it was good talking. Like I said, Happy New Year. What I'm planning on doing is setting a goal to get my videos out. I'm going to say Tuesday and Thursday. And the reason is, so I'm thinking Tuesday and Thursday. So on Tuesdays, I'm going to be working on quilts. And this is my daisy quilt. And then on Thursdays, I am going to be working on my Husqvarna Viking and doing embroidery. So stay tuned to that too. All right, thank you. It's been good talking, and I will see you next time. And before you leave, I want to thank you. So far, I'm on my layout, my pattern for my daisy quilt. I have 1,900 people that have seen it. Ah, that makes me feel so good. And then my subscribers, I'm up to 121 subscribers. So if you're to my channel, subscribe. It's free. All you do is press the button. And then they have a bell, and you can ring the bell, and that is a notification bell. So every time I post meaning I put a video up on the YouTube channel, it will alert you. And that, it happens to me a lot. People will put their video on, and a little bell will ring on my phone or my TV or whatever, letting me know that they post something. So yeah, and so I am just thrilled. I am really, really thrilled, and I'm really happy that it's growing. My channel's growing. So thank you very much. Thanks for watching.